Okay, we are live. It's my little buffer. I'm on a little bit early, but better early than late, right? I hope all of you are having a happy Wednesday. It's been a busy week. It's been such a busy week. It's like homeschooling, crazy busy with clients, and I'm trying to skip town this weekend and just go off into the galaxy and do something that's relaxing. So it's been a busy, busy week. So I talked about this earlier, and if you missed this, feel free to catch it on a replay. I am pretty sure my YouTube channel is like super shadow banned. One of my followers were calling that to my attention, and it's like, yes, I know people are probably not getting the notifications that I'm live. I don't know what to say about this platform, but it's interesting because I get like engagement after the live stream. And the last live stream I had was pretty choppy too, which the first one was actually pretty okay. The last one was pretty choppy. So, YouTube or whoever the cyber demons are, they are definitely working overtime to suppress people like me. I guess I don't like play ball when it comes to the things that they want to hear people saying. They want to hear us all lemmings compliant to something stupid and emotional. But I don't know. I just don't have time for that. But Joy Taylor has been the topic of conversation among other Fox Sports news pundits and commentators. And there was a woman or a makeup artist who worked at Fox for a number of years, and she worked on a number of different shows at Fox. She's accusing individuals at Fox of maybe being complicit in some of these allegations in her lawsuit of sexual harassment or even sexual favors to get ahead within the Fox Sports network. She's accusing Skip Bayless of inappropriate sexual interactions with her. And she's accusing other people of having sexual relationships that were, I guess, not aligned with Fox Sports or Fox Network's HR practices. Now, I gotta be honest, Fox Network in general, don't they have like a track record, a history of like inappropriate relationships between individuals and executives? Haven't a number of their executives been pinged in some point of some type of allegation of sexual misconduct or quid pro quo? So I mean, I feel like this is not shocking to hear about Fox, although it does present reputational risk for them. It presents reputational risk for, sorry guys, my nose is like running. I don't want to blow it here, so give me a second. Okay. Okay. So, but I feel like these allegations aren't like left field for anybody. Like, I feel like this is not something shocking coming from Fox, is what I'm saying. But there's been a number of affiliates from Fox that, or former affiliates within the Fox network. Hey, how are you, Howard? This stuff goes on everywhere. Absolutely. I mean, this is not shocking at all. And I think, I'm trying to figure out what is anybody to do about this anyways. I mean, I think this is one of those things that are going to fly off the radar because it is just that commonplace. But I think when you digest the situation and the allegations in this woman's lawsuit, I think there's some pretty interesting things that pop out and different conversations come up. And one of the conversations has been about Joy Taylor. And there's been allegations, people have been trolling that she essentially slept her way up. Now, I can't validate if that's true or not. I don't even watch Fox Sports. So I've never even known Joy Taylor, to be honest with you, up until this point. I've probably maybe seen her and forgot her that quick because these people aren't important to me. And so that is just to say that, I don't have any loyalty to defend anybody or anything like that when I give this particular commentary, or I don't have any malice to defame Joy Taylor's name, worse than what it has already. Right now, she's suffering a lot of reputational risk. But if she didn't have the track record to sort of match the reputational risk that she's suffering right now, um, I would feel a little bit bad for her, but I don't. I really don't. And I'll tell you why. You said making a mountain out of an anthill. Kamala is the leg splitter to the top. I mean, hey, but people kept focusing on, there was a lot of people on the conservative side that focus on Kamala Harris and Willie Brown and Kamala sleeping her way up to the top. So even though it is something that's very, very commonplace, right? These women definitely get their walk of shame when it comes out, right? And because even Kamala Harris, there's been several instances where she was just trying to walk back or try to get away from that attachment to Willie Brown. Because again, when you are known or alleged to have practices like sleeping your way up to the top, it's hard to walk away from those practices, those ideas of you. It is very hard to walk away, even if that's not what you're doing right now. What's going on, Ghetto Planet? I see you. So the one thing I like to be careful about is just like demonizing people. And I think in my last video, I was just like, I was taking those allegations and I'm like making judgments on this woman without really knowing too much about her, seeing too much about her, hearing too much from her outside of the sports commentary side. So I wanted to do a little digging on Joy Taylor just to see if any of this commentary was like remotely fair, legit, because people were calling her sluts and whores. And, they said that she got her way to the top by being at somebody's bottom, right? Getting her booty clapped by these executives, right? So let's hear from Joy Taylor. Joy Taylor keeps it a buck on who she smashed. She keeps it a buck on. Okay, so let's see what she's saying. What are you saying, Joy Taylor? So, and shout out to the angry man for sharing this video. You can't hear the video? Oh, let me see what's going on. Did we not share sound? Hang on. Let me go. Hang on. Let me do audio. You see. Let's see. You missed it. I'll replay it. I'm trying to figure out how do I. Let me go general. Orientation sailors are disabled while alive. Okay, so let's do this. How do I go present? Let me stop sharing for a second here and try to reshare, and hopefully it'll share the audio. I really hate YouTube these days. Maybe I just hate them on StreamYard. Like maybe that's what I feel. All right. To share audio. Okay. Okay. Okay, so in order to share audio, I got to share just one screen. That's dumb. Okay, also share my audio. Okay, I got it, guys. Troubleshooting worked. Okay, so let me go back. So this is Joy Taylor, and I guess she's on a podcast, and I guess she's talking about women and sort of what they are may or may be willing to do for success. So let's hear it again. And thank you so much, Ghetto Planet, for letting me know you guys couldn't hear that. All right, here we go. Thumbs up if you can hear it this time. Oh no, don't do that. I don't want to do that. See, this is where I hate it. This is why I do it on my phone, guys. This is why I just pull out my camera phone and go live because all this technical.
Can we just keep it
here we
a
go.
buck? If they're fine enough, if they're funny enough, or if their financial status is what you want.
Hang on, guys. Can you hear that? Cool. Thank you, Ghetto Planet. All right, cool. So this is Joy Taylor again. Okay, got it. All these little things. I think it's StreamYard. Maybe it's not even YouTube. Maybe it's just StreamYard because this is just like all these little pop-ups. This is why I just pull out my camera phone, guys, because, yeah. All right. So let's get back to this. We want to... Here we go.
Fine, funny, fucking money. Just keep it a buck. If they're fine enough, if they're funny enough, or if their financial status is what you want. Fine, funny, fucking money. You're throwing all boundaries, standards.
So she's saying that if you're dealing with a guy that is fine, he's funny, and he has money, she's saying that if women were to keep it real, right, that they would throw all of their boundaries and their morality, basically throw it in the hoops, throw it away, right? So this is how this particular woman thinks, right? Now, she's not saying this, like, it doesn't sound like from her tone, she's saying this as though this is something that she doesn't believe in. She's saying it in a tone in which she's saying, hey, I'm being very honest about this. And that honesty probably comes from her own personal perspective and experience, that when you're dealing with a man with a lot of money, he's handsome, and he's funny. Remember those 5 social values. So she said that basically he needs to have 2 of the 5 social values in addition to having a lot of money, right? And she's saying that you're going to throw your morality out the door, right? And so this is how this particular woman thinks. So when I hear people like Stephen A. Smith get on the mic in one of his angry black man rants and just kind of talk about how he's not happy with the backlash that she's getting. And, all of these are allegations. Obviously, nobody was there. We weren't there to see her possibly get the smackdown by this Fox executive, Charlie Dixon. We weren't there, right? So we don't know if all of these things happened. But according to her friend and her hairstylist, these things were going on. There were a number of private conversations that the hairstylist mentioned that, would allude to Joy was having sex with at least one Fox executive. That same executive came on to her, inappropriately touched her. When she went to go consort with Joy about this, basically Joy was like, babe, charge it to the game. Charge it to the game, honey. You here. You working at Fox Sports, right? You could be anywhere but here, right? So you need to charge that to the game and keep it moving, right? She basically was telling her, you need to just accept it, right? Because he's powerful. I'm pretty powerful too. So yeah, just accept that, move on and do your little makeup job, right? And it's interesting, to see this, because when you're talking about women empowerment, right? It, in an instant like this, if these allegations are true, This is just another perfect example of how women don't empower each other. Matter of fact, there are some women who will actually serve as a silent madam to other women in the organization, like, hey, look, if you want X, Y, and Z, you know what you got to do. Spread eagle, girl, spread eagle and get that raise, get that promotion. And what Joy is saying is very interesting, because it's like, although she's now fighting reputational allegations that she slept her way up to the top, and not only did she sleep her way up to the top, her very first marriage allegedly ended because she was out there letting those Fox executives chop and screw her ass for positions, allegedly, right? And now you got people like Stephen A. Smith going on an angry black man rant about how people shouldn't be assassinating this woman's character based off of allegations, right? And I agree, I agree with that, but there are so many Fox Sports pundits that are coming out and they're like, yeah, I kind of knew about that. Yeah, I heard about that. A lot of these things in the lawsuit, these are things that, like one guy said, he was like, if she didn't mention that particular thing, I probably wouldn't have never really believed it. But he was like, yeah, some of that stuff could be true. So, hey, Brian, how are you? So, no, you're fine. You're fine. I'm just playing around with doing my live streams on StreamYard. I think I might want to go back to my old platform because this stuff is kind of choppy and I don't like that. I don't like that choppy stuff at all. But I say this to say this. I had a scenario where when I was an engineering recruiter, and I was working with two female account managers, and we were working within the automotive sector, which is very male dominated, especially when you're dealing with the engineering and manufacturing spaces. And so they would meet with the project manager or product manager, basically let us know what their team needed. So if it was like a powertrain engineer, we would go out and look for the powertrain engineers. If it was like a electrical or system integrations engineer, we would go out and look for the electrical and systems integration engineers, right? And so, obviously, because we are a staffing firm, we were competing against other staffing firms. And with some customers, we were probably one of 75 to 100 staffing suppliers or groups that were helping them staff positions within their enterprise. So the competition was definitely there, and if you're a staffing firm where you get good relationships with managers, or somebody to know somebody, obviously you can push recs and get them closed and get your bodies on orders really quickly. I remember there was two types of not financial advisors, but two types of account managers that I was working with. One of them was this short, blonde, boob job, blonde hair, chick, very cute, bubbly, sweet. She was all right for a white lady. I mean, I think everybody has their standard of what's beautiful. I have a standard of what I believe to be a beautiful white woman. I think I have a standard of what I think is a handsome white man. And this kind of goes across all the races. I don't think that there's any race that is more beautiful than the next, because there's just too many funny looking ass humans on this earth of all races, right? But she wouldn't be, my standard of a beautiful white woman. She'd be like an average at best white woman, right? But she had them titties, and those titties were kind of her bread and butter. She needed those titties, right? Because there was like really not a lot else going on for her outside of those titties. And those titties helped her get a lot of recs within the organization. But she would also talk about how she would be getting wrecked, with some of those product managers. Oh, I made out with this guy. I made out with this guy. I got a new order. And it got to the point where the other account manager chick, she was kind of pissed because every time she would go and have to meet with a manager or something, the one account manager chick had developed such a reputation for being a whore for Rex that, when she would go in, some of these managers would be thinking that she was on that same thing, right? That this is how you get business too. And that's not what she was on at all. She was just straight to the business. And I think that this chick looked better than the other girl that was showing titties. But I guess everybody worked with what they got. And she didn't have to do all that. It was either, like, look, this is the body we got. They're qualified. You either move or we'll put them on to another manager. That's how she and I worked way better than me and this other chick, because it's like you can only sleep your way around to get things for so long, like to get business for so long, because there's always some other broad that's willing to sleep with the manager too for some business, right? And I just say this to say that, based off of the allegations against Joy Taylor, right? She was that woman who basically pretty much set the tone, allegedly, based off of the allegations. She set the tone for these executives, and they probably are going to be slimy dudes with power on their mind and quid pro quo on their mind anyways. But women like her make it so much easier for them to be like that, right? When you are a woman who, this is how you think about like your gain as a woman, right?
Just keep it a buck. If they're fine enough, if they're funny enough, or if their financial status is what you want, fine, funny, fucking money, you're throwing all boundaries, standards, all that shit you talked on Instagram about how you would never, and this woman ain't kid, because women this and men this, and you're moving forward with this person.
So this is a power hungry woman who is pretty much telling other women, you got to be real, sis, that, if a guy is cute, funny, financially stable, all that stuff, you're throwing your morals away. So this tells me that Joy Taylor is an individual that when there is opportunity, right, she might be one of those individuals who be interested in or might throw her morals away. So I am going to disagree with Stephen A. Smith, in terms of the vilification that she's getting, because she, and even if these things are not true, but it just seems like there's so much paper trail from some of these former Fox people who are getting on the mic, and they work with Joy, they work with Skip, they worked around these people, they've observed these people, right? They're saying that, this may not be too far off. This may not be too far off. And that's not to say that, she didn't put herself in a position where, even, let's just say she slapped her way to get what she wanted, right? She still had to show up and do the job. And so according to Stephen A. Smith, she's still doing this job. She's still good at what she does. And so people shouldn't be looking at her success as a result of her being a possible whore.
Got to get started on this particular day. And that's getting started with the lawsuit, the recent lawsuit filed against Fox Sports, and several current and former personnel there, including my former colleague, the one and only Skip Bayless. The 42-page document filed by a woman named Nusheen Faraji, a former hairstylist for the company, cites several instances of workplace misconduct. The suit names several defendants, including Fox Sports Executive Vice President Charlie Dixon and host Joy Taylor.
So, it sucks when the white guy isn't even hot. Jesus. These women, I hope she didn't sleep with him. Lord. Like, have some scruples at least. It's like, Jesus, if you're going to be a whore, sleep with the fine white guys at least. This is just horrible. Lord. But this is what happened when you got money, though, right? When you got money, you can look like that and leverage your power to be able to possibly smash that. But how good of sports analyst is Joy? I'll be honest with you. I don't watch Fox Sports at all. Um, so I don't know. According to Stephen A. Smith, she's good at what she does. According to this chick that Stephen A. has on, who is not very happy with how people are presenting this conversation. And I'm not trying to be funny, but it's like,
relayed the encounter with
let me
Joy
stop
Taylor.
assuming
The
stuff
Fox
about
host
people.
allegedly
But
told her to, quote, get over it. And that is where I feel compelled to begin today. There's been a lot of reaction to this story all over social media. Has it been about Charlie Dixon? Not that much. Has it even been about Skip Bayless? Not that much at all. Has it been about Fox Sports overall? Really, not that much at all. It's all significantly paled in comparison to the level of vitriol, venom, insults, and beyond.
here's the thing. I'm being honest. Like, I hear what Stephen A. is saying. It seems like Joy is. Oh, did I
aimed at
freeze? I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. Did it stop? I freaking hate this. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Did the live stream stop? Because this. Have you seen Jason Whitlock's reaction? Yeah, I saw Jason Whitlock's reaction. And again, that was actually one of those reactions that I was talking about. Maybe it was a copyright thing. That's why. But Stephen A is basically ranting because he's like, nobody's talking about Charlie Dixon. People are barely talking about Fox Sports. He doesn't like the fact that all of the vitriol and these allegation is going towards Joy. And it's like, I mean, honestly, whoever cares about the guy who's banging all the chicks that want to get ahead and who are willing to bang him? See, the thing is about these, like, I mean, it's a situation where, you know, women do have empowerment in the workplace, and it starts with, kind of understanding sort of the cards that you can play. What are the regulations? I think everybody takes like sexual harassment training now in the workplace. Most of the time, standard practices for onboarding practices for most companies is you're going to take a sexual harassment course and the DEI course and all these courses about workforce and culture and all that stuff, right? But I don't think that no one ever cares about the dude that is sleeping with those chicks, right? That's why we don't hear too much about them. We always hear about the chicks, right? The alleged whores. The whores will take the fall before the dudes that are banging them, right? Because, at the end of the day, it's like, even though you're a slimy guy for improperly positioning these women, they still comply to do it, right? It's like if I'm gonna lose my job, it's like I'm gonna go out with a blaze of a settlement at least because you made me feel uncomfortable, you sexually harassed me, right? And I got this paper trail for it. And if I lose my job for telling on you, right, then I'm gonna sue you. I'm gonna sue, right? But I feel like some of these men know who they can do that things like that with too. These women who claim that they're so empowered, right? They will act like they're completely not that they're completely powerless when it comes to a male boss who is inappropriately propositioning them for sex. They act like they're powerless. It's like, no, you should be documenting shit. You should be talking to HR, right? You should be lawyering up, right? You should be doing a number of different things. You should be telling them that, your mental health was all messed up because you didn't know what to do in the beginning, but it's eating at you. You better play all the games to at least get a decent severance from that company or that person where it doesn't even matter. Like, I mean, but I'm just going to say that with some of these women, I feel like women empowerment, sometimes boil down to leaving a situation that puts you in a position, puts you in that position, you know, and and just saying no. You know what I mean? I mean, a lot of these women are talking about he touched me, right? And why didn't you slap his hand? I don't care if he's an executive of a company, keep your damn hands to yourself unless you want to get sued. Right? I mean, it's just little things like that where a lot of these people need to be afraid to get sued. And not a lot of, I mean, I don't know if these women are afraid to go up against those machines. A lot of these people are settling in private, but I would definitely give them a run for their money. It's like you're not just going to be copping free field skis on me. You're not copping free field skis on me and think you're going to get away with that. Not at all. But again, every woman is different. Like I would never, ever, ever. I don't care what position you are in any company. You're never going to sexually harass me without being embarrassed or suffering shame. I will take the L on your company, but you're not gonna. I'm not gonna let you do it. And I've never been sexually harassed by a man, and I've worked in male dominated spaces my entire career, right? But I'm a very straight shooter type of person, right? I can be cool as hell with you in the workplace, right? But if the minute you think you're going to make me feel uncomfortable is when I got to check you right then and there. And I even if it's like a manager, I'd be like, hey, I speak facts to the point where it's like you can't refute what I'm saying. So like let's not even go there, right? But I think some women just need to understand how to like this is the type of woman that I am, right? I'm not going to allow you to talk to me any kind of way. I'm here to work with you. I'm not here to be the object of your affection. So can you get with that? Is that fine? Or get the hell or I'll be getting the hell out of there. People have choices. They have choices. You can't be that obsessed with working at some of these companies that you will let somebody just make you feel uncomfortable every day. You got to be up in there. That's just illogical to me. I don't care where you're working. You should never want to work anywhere that bad. And some of these women are a victim of themselves and their own ambitions. They want to get far ahead and they want to be like some of these men, be where the men are, right? And they don't realize that the lions play differently. The lions play differently sometimes. And that's just what it is. There are women, not to try based on experiment interacting with them. Absolutely. And it irritates me that there are some men that are so stupid to believe that they should be approaching every single woman the same way. There are some women, like when you read the room, you know who the whores are because the whores typically will tell you who they are by the way that they dress, their body language, how flirtatious they can be with their eyes, and their emphatic gestures and whatnot. Women, like there are some women in the workplace you just know that they're the office whore. You just know that they're the office whore. You know that they would sleep their way up to a promotion because their character, kind of radiates. I sleep my way up. Just like Joy Taylor, this may not be all of these allegations may be false, but to me, I think Joy Taylor, tells us a lot about how Joy Taylor thinks in conjunction with these allegations that like with these allegations out there and then she got sound bites like this.
Can we just keep it?
It's hard for me to believe she's anything
if they're fine enough, if they're funny enough, or if their financial status is what you want. Fine, funny, fucking money. You're throwing all boundaries, standards.
And I would like to just say that's for some women. That's for some women. That's for some women. Maybe many women these days would throw their morality out the window for a man that is fine, funny, and has a lot of money. Maybe, but I wouldn't say all women would do that. I'm definitely not one of those women that would do that. I don't covet anything that bad to relinquish my salvation, right? I'm a prodigal daughter that has changed my ways. And so it's like once you understand what it means to be in union with God, it's like you do not think of doing certain things to offend God because you know that you will lose your salvation. And some people have faith strong enough to believe and worry about losing their salvation. I'm one of them. It's like I think about all my moves now. Like, does this offend? Is this in covenant? You know what I mean? Because I would rather compromise money, and I've compromised money several times, more comfortable positions in life, wealthy men. But at the end of the day, I know where my happiness is, and I know who I'm evenly yoked with. And a lot of people, to me, I just find that I'm not evenly yoked with them. And so I don't care how much money they have, you just are not an alignment for me. And that's just me. I was piss poor when we got married. I mean, it just, and you grow. You go through those cycles of being broke and going through the struggle. For better, for worse, is exactly that, being piss poor when you got married, going through the motions of being that, and then being able to elevate. And according to Howard, our friend Howard, he's been married for 43 years. So Howard is a great swan song that, building something with somebody is so important, and I think it becomes more meaningful too, right? I think when you got a woman who's about some man's money, right? You know that woman is coming in there with anything but thinking about that man and his peace. She's thinking all about herself and what he can do for her, and she's gonna spread ego, to suffice him. But other than that, it's like a lot of these women, they just have an interesting mindset about things. That's all I can say. All good now and has been from day one. I love it, Howard. I love it. But Joy, it's interesting, how some people, they have great relationships, great marriages, whatever. And then you have, people who you think that they're cool, you think that they're happy, and then all of this other stuff comes out like after the fact. So I don't know if you guys have been following that Steven Twitch guy. So apparently his wife just dropped a book, and that man's family, his friends, their mutual friends, they are giving that woman, Allison, the business. She's been accused of keeping his kids away from his side of the family. She's been accused of making his mother and his family sign an NDA just to go to the man's funeral. One of the cousins alluded to Twitch killed himself with Allison's gun, allegedly. But the overarching theme between Twitch's family and both of their mutual friends is that Allison is a narcissist. She'd do anything for money. According to one guy who was really close to Twitch, Twitch was not happy with that woman either. And so I guess a lot of people are looking at her dropping this little book and actually revealing personal things from that man's journal as a clout chase and as a way to play the victim card so that she can start building her relevancy. Now, she accused this man of doing drugs. Let me go here. She accused him of doing drugs. Let me see it. Here it is. And, I just want to say that just because you find a box of mushrooms and some weed in somebody's closet or something like that, that doesn't mean that they have a drug addiction. They could be a drug user. if anything. But I think that people need to understand the difference between drug users, drug abusers, and drug addicts, right? Because I think that you're falling into different categories of people, especially and even more specifically recreational usage. So she said that when she was cleaning out, and I'll let her say it.
Reflecting, and she claims that Twitch had an addiction problem.
I had dealt with an ex that had addiction problems, and then I realized Steven had addiction problems. And there was a moment I was with one of my really dear friends, and we were cleaning out the closet and picking out an outfit for him for the funeral. And it was a really triggering moment for me because there was a lot of things I discovered in our closet that I did not know existed. And it was very alarming to me to learn that there was so much happening that I had no clue.
Allison said that Twitch had a bunch of different drugs in his shoe boxes, including mushrooms, pills, and other substances. Also, she found his journal and read through it, and she revealed this in her memoir. She said that in his journal, he alluded to a male figure essaying him when he was a child. So, as you can imagine, this was very, very personal. And
So oh, you're so right, Ghetto Planet. Because they're looking at this as her being narcissistic. They're also looking at this as her not protecting their kids, not protecting his legacy. And apparently, she made his family sign NDAs with the guise of protecting his legacy, only for her to try to drop this, what I look like, it's not a memoir, it's a tell-all book, to try to ride on this man's clout. And I think what Twitch's wife is really seeing is that you're nothing without him, right? He was the flair of the relationship, and she's trying to separate herself and her brand, it seems like, maybe away from him. But I think that this is a reality check for so many different people. Again, one of his friends, one of his friends really gave it to her. And he was, because he was not,
a lot of people are wondering why she felt the need to.
A lot of his people did not like her saying this, but I want to,
let me get past this commercial. That truly matters. Get tickets now at shenyun.com.
I'm actually going to see that if it's come out here.
He passed, his legacy. This is how you protect his children from any further.
So I want to go back and let Impressive, and shout out to Impressive Channel, because this was another one of his friends. Like, these are just friends of Twitch.
Since there's clearly no shame in being so public, I haven't said a word in 2 years, but here I go. I was there the moment you both connected. I was there the day you got engaged. I stood by your side on your wedding day.
This is the one I want to read. This one, because this guy, he really kind of raised I
have all the proof. Play with somebody safe. Country boy right here. I don't give an F. Every person who knew him knows you're lying and have been doing dirty crap for a long time. Should I post our last conversation? Try me. You have no idea what I have to post. Here's a few questions I have for you, though. Why did you make his mom sign an NDA to see her son's body? Why did his closest friends and family have to sign an NDA to attend his funeral? Why did you lie at the funeral about how every day was magical? It wasn't. He told me everything. Ooh. You had to try and demonize Nelson, and I see why. You demonize anyone in his life that found out the truth about you. You will say his friends aren't his friends. You will discredit anyone that knows the truth.
All these
you are
things
a toxic
to say about
woman.
Twitch, but when it's time to rest their feelings about Allison, now it's kind of, and I did think that she kind of came on the mic after dude died like way too soon. I guess everybody copes differently. Everybody needs to put out a statement. But it's like, your husband just died. The father of your kids has died. If that was me, it's like, I ain't making no statements. Like, y'all hear from me when y'all hear from me. But, my man just died. So give me a moment to process what just happened. She had a statement out relatively quickly. And according to a number of their friends and close associates and family members, this woman was narcissistic. And even post the funeral, I'm just kind of summarizing some of this stuff. This woman was just very evil, showing her true colors.
Truly.
So they're going in on this woman. But
Last
again,
question.
it's
Was it
never
your
going to
gun
work
that
out
was
well for
used?
people who do
Ooh,
stuff like that.
that's some nasty tea he spilled. Now, what's interesting is one of Twitch's relatives, Dante Boss, reposted Manny's post and said, "Let the truth be told. Thank you, Manny Cross." Another one of Steven's close friends named J. Chris Moore said, "Due to the recent selfish acts of a certain horrible piece of
So
trash
they
human
really
being who..."
going in on this man's wife. That money, this was a pregnancy marriage. You think it was a pregnancy marriage? See, I got my theories about some of these white girls going after these black men who are famous and who got like stardom or power. Like, I mean, I think a lot of them they target them. I mean, go back and listen to what his homeboy said. He said that she's one of those women that have fetishes for black men, right? And I do believe that some of these women, they may be sent by executives. Some, maybe their daddies are out there. Oh, this looks like a rich black guy coming up. Go see if you can be his wife so we can siphon some of that money. I don't know, but I think some of these white women just targeting these black men are questionable. Their love seemed more organic, right? But he seemed to have more opportunity than she did. Like, I don't know what Allison did outside of being Twitch's wife, which she was known for. And so now she's trying to get out of this the Twitch's wife and kind of have her own little shine. And it's like, I'm not even trying to be funny, but I wouldn't remember what this woman looked like if I looked at her for like 30 minutes. She looked like any other woman to me. Like, and that's just word. I mean, she looks like other chicks that I've seen before. Not saying all white women look like, but she really look white womanish. Like, she looked like your typical average white woman. She doesn't stand out at all. There's nothing exotic about Twitch's wife. There's nothing memorable about her at all. You know, she reminds me of that Dave Chappelle episode with the girl that was pop blocking. Remember, you know, that little what was it, Volvo commercial or whatever, and he had the little pop blocker, and Dave Chappelle, he did a mock of it, right? And she was that's pretty much what, you know, Allison is. She's a white girl pop blocking until you get a black man beside you. Now you look cooler. But when that black man is not there, you don't look so cool, and we don't really care about you. Check out my post on YouTube. I was doing homeschooling with my son today, and we were going over the scientific method, and we got on the topic of Latimer, and we were using Latimer, Lewis Latimer, as an example of using the scientific method, using those curiosities. And we looked at this mini documentary, which revealed to my son that Thomas Edison, although he did create the light bulb, right? His light bulb was a failure. When you look at Thomas Edison's product, he needed Lewis Latimer's invention in order for his product, his invention, to actually work. And so we do credit, you know, the consumer electricity, not just to Edison, but more specifically, Lewis Latimer, a Black American man. And so we were learning about that. And he was like, Thomas Edison, his invention was a failure. He failed. He needed that black man. And I'm like, failure is a little harsh, kid, but you are right. But hey, let's just call a spade a spade. Most of your favorite wealthy white people would not be wealthy without having a black person's talent, leveraging it, short squeezing it, stealing their ideas, all of that good jazz. And that's just facts. It's just cold facts. They want to make black people, like, I have never, you know, I don't see any other race being made just intentionally by rhetoric design to be inferior like black people, yet the history don't lie. You can whitewash it all you want to, but the history don't lie. So, you know, shout out to Lewis Latimer, are one of our founding fathers in engineering in Black America, right? Um, yeah, they need Black people. Allison, she's nothing without Twitch. We don't care about Allison. She might as well go and be a regular white girl. And she got a husband now, so she can be a regular white woman with a regular white man, right? And try to make it, you know, with their blended family, because we don't really care about you right now anymore. Right? We cared about Twitch. You got your clout from him. He's not here anymore, Allison. So stop trying to clout chase off of Twitch, and then ruining the man's legacy. Putting this crap out there for your kids to see too. This woman, I agree with everything people say. Like, this may be your way of coping, honey, but it looks like you're chasing a dollar more than anything. He also tried to claim perfecting electricity, even though it was Tesla who did that. He said Thomas Edison was a thief. I'm also glad people know this as common knowledge now. I don't know if people know it as common knowledge, but I homeschool my kids. So he's getting common sense. And that's one of the things that we talked about. Another thing with Latimer is a lot of people don't realize that Alexander Bell actually wouldn't have never got the patent on the phone if it wasn't for Latimer, because obviously the U.S. Patent Office requires for inventions to have actual schematics or drawing. And at that time, Latimer, who was self-taught, coming out of the, when he was in the Navy and beyond, he was one of the best in the country at the time. And so Lewis Latimer, this Black man post-slavery, was actually very highly sought and desirable, for his expertise. He was a subject matter expert. And so Bell actually was saved, in terms of being able to be the first person to get the patent on the telephone, because Latimer rushed and did his schematics for him. So, the more you know is all I say. The more you know. And I don't think that the schools really go into the deep context like this, because again, the U.S. education system is a hub of white supremacy. And the one thing I'm very grateful of Trump is that he's thinking about getting rid of it. Just get rid of it. I think if we can just kind of go back to the basics on a lot of things, maybe get back to the U.S. education system before Obama, we might be all right. But until then, I tell people to homeschool your kids, because these people ain't teaching them nothing but feelings. That's what they're doing. It's common knowledge. It's in the cartoons now, an indicator of social norm. I don't know. I haven't seen any cartoons that show Thomas Edison stealing people's inventions. You said before Bush, we need the education system before Bush. I believe it. Bush and Obama, they're probably part of the same cabals of people who are trying to dumbify people so that they can relinquish their freedoms to them. Who knows? But anyways, you guys, Joy Taylor, I pray for women who are ambitious and power hungry, and and that they understand that, you're sacrificing to get what you want, to get the level of success that you want, may mean that you have to walk away from opportunities that compromise your self-respect. I don't know Joy Taylor from Adam. Based off of the commentary from people about her and about their observations of her, based off of these allegations and based off of the words coming out of her own mouth, I can't really look at Joy Taylor as nothing but a bop around. She looks like an executive bop around, and she understands that if she ever loses her job on Fox for whatever reason, somebody's going to be expecting for her to spread ego. And because she's making statements like women don't care about this, you throw your morality and all that stuff, she'd probably be doing it. So maybe she earned her position. Who knows? But women who earned their positions, you don't really hear them talking, about throwing away your morality when you're dealing with a man that is funny and, have a lot of money and cute. You don't really hear them talking like that. So, who knows? Who knows? We should remember people like George Washington Carver. I agree too. I mean, I think, I used to I never paid attention to Black History Month because it was always redundant to me. I always hated Black History Month actually because I just felt like it was just all about slaves, and they did this by design. And when you really look at, the purpose of Negro History Week, before the federal government hijacked it and made it into this whole month long thing of celebrating what? Slaves? And civil rights speaking, but before Carter G. Woodson really wanted Negro History Week to highlight Black advancement, right? And so every year, the idea was that you would be highlighting Black innovation and new Black innovators and new individuals that were contributing to Black excellence. Then the federal government hijacked it, right? Made it into Black History Month. And essentially, they wanted to center on reminding Black people of where they came from. And so that's why ever since I was a kid, and even having kids in the school district, you see when you get the Black History book report heroes list, it's always the usual suspects. They sprinkled in Obama and Oprah and Beyonce, all of the Illuminati favorites in there, for us to lord over, but, they still kind of missed the mark on so many other ones. And I've had, like, for my kids' school, I've had to, at Barry Gordy. I had to demand Barry Gordy. I'm like, we're not doing this slave. We're doing Barry Gordy. We've done Lonnie George Johnson, Ursula Burns. We do progressive Black people that they don't really want young Black kids centering on. There's no damn reason why Lonnie George Johnson was not on the Black History list when I was growing up, because I actually played with a Super Soaker. And I think every single kid that I know of had either Nerf technology or the Super Soaker. And they don't associate that technology, that innovation, with being from a Black man. But it is. A Black man has the patent on those technologies, and he was a propulsion engineer. He served this country. He's a foundational Black American. One of his inspirations was George Washington Carver. So without George Washington Carver, we may not even have the Super Soaker, because he was one of the inspirations of Lonnie George Johnson, who was a NASA scientist. Yes, he was a propulsion engineer as well at NASA. So it just tells you that's where he got the idea for the Super Soaker. And I think if you remember the story of the Super Soaker, right, there was a company called Intertech that came out with a water gun. It was like the propulsion type of water gun, but Intertech's guns looked so real that parents were not comfortable with them. So obviously Lonnie George Johnson puts the Super Soaker on the market, more friendly, less threatening and military like, and he basically took the market. So, this is to say that Black innovation in America has always happened. I think that people do a good job of trying to suppress it, minimize it, right? So that they can obviously put non-Black faces at the front. And that's why it's our job to make sure that we are owning our history in a progressive way. Like telling our kids, without George Washington Carver, maybe we wouldn't have had Lonnie George Johnson, because Lonnie George Johnson has said that George Washington Carver and Lewis Latimer were inspirations of his, right? So I think that as we as Black Americans are owning our narrative and even having control over our history and how it's delivered, we definitely need to center on that progressive lens and making sure that our kids understand it from a progressive lens, so that we are not raising generations of mentally disenfranchised people who don't know how to see themselves in this particular nation and have some level of confidence about themselves and their blackness, right? I think the way that they teach Black history at school, right, it will make any Black child hate themselves. And that's just 100. Like, I didn't really like being Black for a long time because I had non-Black people, for the most part, teaching me about my Black history, and about the plights of my people, right? And even though they're trying to be sensitive and sympathetic, it's still like your people are delivering me my history about my people. And it never set well with me. And so I never really cared for non-Black people to deliver Black history to my kids at all. I don't even think it should be in the school at all. Black people, stop being so freaking lazy, right? And stop leaving these structures to teach your kids the tribal lessons that you should be teaching them at home. Tribal lessons should be taught at home, right? And when you're talking about Black history, it should be through the lens of American history, because if you're talking about Black American history, then yeah, it's woven into the history of this nation, right? And I think that's the proper context. You guys were slaves, you had to fight for your civil rights, right? Then civil rights happened. And what happened after civil rights were fought for and won? What did many of us do with them? We got distracted by this other military industrial complex, MK Ultra, and this is where our families continue to fall apart. It's crazy. The more rights Black people acquired, by law and constitution, it seems like the more we fell off as people and a unit. It's like we forgot about the struggle, guys, in the right context. But anyways, dang, I needed the reminder on progression. Absolutely, my friend. We got to talk about it in a progressive way. This is how I deliver Black history for my kids. Like, to my kids, I'm not about to be centered on no slaves. We don't worship ancestors in my house. I believe that that's demonic. And so we put the ancestors in proper context. Like, when I think about my ancestors, I think about Moses. I think about Aaron. I think about Miriam. I think about people like that. Those are my ancestors. And I think about what those Israelites went through, and what they, put upon themselves. And so when I think about the ancient Hebrews, for example, who I believe are my ancestors, I don't worship my ancestors. I think that when I look at the ancient Hebrews, I look at people who really disrespected their gods several times over. And so their God handed them over, most of them who kept on with it, right, handed them over to the system of Satan that, they wanted to be a part of. But he did save a remnant of his people. And it's our job not to worship our ancestors. It's really to make penance for what they did, the disrespect that they put upon our God, that put towards our God, Yahuwah. And so that's me personally. I think that, Black people should not be worshiping their ancestors. They should be doing the opposite of what they did. And this is beyond slavery. But, there are some people that don't believe, as I believe there are some Black people who are products of various different African tribes, but I do believe that the people who were, I think some of the Blacks that were brought over to the African and the Caribbean and America, I do think that we were a special tribe of people that we have, forgotten who we are. So hopefully our God will call some of you home before the judgment day, because it is upon us. I don't predict the judgment hour because nobody knows, not even the king. But, I pray that people get themselves right with our God, our ancient God, and, get back to the Abrahamic faith, right? Get back to, the customs that align with our God, you know. I always felt like thinking of ancestors looking down on us is actually bad. I agree with you. I want my ancestors to move on from this world, not linger. Yeah, I don't believe in ancestor worship at all. I know a lot of Black people believe in that. They channel the ancestors, that all that. I don't get into those practices at all. And I definitely don't think that if you believe that you're a descendant of, let's just say, the ancient Hebrews, for example, or the ancient Israelites, I definitely don't think you should be worshiping your ancestors. They fucked us over. They screwed us. They totally screwed us, right? But thank God, God is merciful and He saved a remnant of us, and He has called His children slowly but surely. Because I know I was a prodigal in this world, and God was like, if you don't get your behind in covenant, right? Get your behind in covenant, girl. I was like, yes, Lord, right? So I don't do nothing. I work, I take care of my family, I share the good news of God's kingdom, and I chill. Now I do hang out and have fun, but it's all in moderation. I don't do anything crazy. I don't fornicate. I don't commit adultery. I think the worst thing I got going on with me is that sometimes I curse, but I don't even know where it says that you shouldn't curse. But it does tell us to be mindful of our tongues, but I only curse at wicked things. I don't curse at God. I don't curse God. I curse the wickedness of the world. So if that's, I can deal with that. We'll work on me, Lord. Work on me. I blame Marvel's Black Panther movies. Right? Right. But let me get off my phone because my family is beckoning. And if I don't answer my phone, it's like we are real close. But it's like if I like just because I'll pick up, but if I'm doing something, I won't pick up. But my sister will not let up. Some of y'all seen my sister in these live streams. Like, she's my big sister. So it's like she checks in, like, hey, I haven't talked to you today. We talk every day. So I ain't never going missing without somebody missing me. Anyways, y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Ghetto Planet Howard, thank you so much for tuning in and having this conversation with me. I don't know if YouTube is still suppressing my content or not, but we're gonna keep it moving. I'm gonna keep doing what I do because I do like just sharing knowledge and information. This wasn't really not so much about knowledge sharing, but this was more about just moral perspective, right? Because you have, one woman that we covered today, Joy Taylor, right? She's been accused of sleeping her way to the top, right? And it's very hard, in my opinion, for this woman to get away from these allegations because she actually has sound bites. She actually speaks like a woman that would be down with sleeping her way to the top with no conscience of it, right? So I don't feel bad for Joy Taylor at all. And if it's not true or whatever, good for her, right? I don't feel like I have anything to apologize for because, again, these are allegations that we're hearing. And again, we're basing our assumptions based off of what we hear. And my biggest conclusion comes from what came out of this woman's big titty mouth. Because from what I understand, Joy Taylor shows her titties all the time. No wonder why these guys at Fox want to bang her. It's like if you're an executive, attractive woman, and every day you come into work, I'm looking at Brittany and Brandy, the girls. That's what my boobs are called. But it's like every day these guys are looking at your boobs. It's like, what do you think they're gonna end up doing? It's like, like when if I were a guy and I'm in this meeting and I see this woman all bubbly and trying to get attention, their titties are out, right? I'm thinking like, you need a promotion. You need a promotion. Those titties are saying, I need a promotion because they're out for everybody to see. Like I said, some of these women, they open the doors to some of this stuff just by how they are. So it pays to be a modest woman. It pays to be a modest woman. Like, I wouldn't even feel right if I came on to this live stream dressed like a whore all the time, you know, even commenting on this, but that's not a graceful way to project myself. So it's like I feel completely comfortable telling these whores, maybe you should cover it up, because when the allegations come out and you're being shamed for being a whore, you can't play the victim. You cannot play the victim if you project yourself to be a whore, right? And that's just what it is. I honestly think it is, but it is very chill without trolls. Right on. I do like it without the trolls. You're right. You know, Ghetto Planet, you're right. We have not had to really get rid of a bunch of trolls, which really kind of sucks though, because that tells me that like we're like all of those thousands of people that were tuning into the live stream, were they trolls? Were they bots? And then my other question is, why would YouTube, because I'm such a small channel, like, why would such an effort even be needed? But I look at things like this: the big dogs have the louder bite, but the underdogs have the bigger impact. And that's just 100. The big dogs have the louder bite. You hear all these bigger channels, they're just bark, 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 bark. But I feel like it was the smaller channels that really move society and make things, shift, right? And I think that they probably recognize that too, that it's not the big channels that made Kamala Harris lose. It was actually some of these smaller channels. It wasn't the ones that were paid by them, it was the ones that weren't paid by them. And so, because my content is not monetized, I just kind of get up here as a hobby, something to do. I'm not trying to make money from you fine folks. And this is not even a business model for me. It's just something that I do. Um, I think a lot of those things come into play too. But hey, a troll-free live stream is a good live stream. So I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with you. I think you were in the circulation of scrolling, but you started talking real shit and had to, yeah. I think that's what it was. Because, and yeah, I think it was just like that Trump thing too, because like my political perspective is so in the middle. And I think that people who came onto this channel, they were like, is she a Democrat? Is she a Republican? It's like, no, I'm neither. I just talk shit about both of them. And so I think some people, they would come in and they would catch me talking shit about Democrats, and they're like, oh, she's on our team. And it's like, no, I'm not. Right. And then I'll start talking shit about conservative, and then you have Democrat. Oh, she's on our, no. No, I'm not. I'm on the team of the Most High, right? The best team in the world. So I think that was probably one of the things too, is just the channel. I think middle of the road, politically neutral, independent people, really organic, independent people, not these fake people that say that they're independent, right? I think organic, independent people, we are being suppressed because I think that we come with the most common sense. I think we come with the most common sense, and we come with the least intent to manipulate you and your feelings. That's what I think. So, we'll see what happens, but this is crazy. Like, I mean, I'm telling you, I would start my live stream and it would like literally jump to like 20, 50, 100 people sometimes. Like even more than that. Like now it's just like 5 people, and I'm like, is this the StreamYard perspective? Should I do my live stream? You know what I'm gonna do next time? I'm going to do my live stream on YouTube. I'm not going to do it from the StreamYard platform to see if somehow that is impacting it, because I do notice that, like, I didn't notice a drop in the content, but at the same time, I still wasn't like drastically dropped like I am right now. I could still do at least like 1,300 people in the live stream. So I'm gonna try to see if doing it from YouTube would, help with the viewership, because I don't know, this StreamYard stuff is like, I'm like, what the hell? Like, where are all the people? Can they see the live stream? So, plus people sneakily report, and that makes YouTube scrutinize the stream. Oh, really? I didn't realize that. I mean, I guess, but I mean, I can't account for sensitive people. I mean, it just is what it is. It's like grow some fucking pubes. Grow some fucking pubes already. That's all I can say with about a lot of these people is grow some pubes. Your parents failed you, and now society has to deal with you. And I don't think we should be kind to you. We don't have to be kind to some of you people who just get activated on just every single thing because your emotions told you to. And now you out here reporting people, whatever. Anyways, guys, you have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Shout out to Ghetto Planet and Howard. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Love your neighbor as yourself. If you would not disrespect or abuse yourself, do not disrespect or abuse your neighbors. Bye. Gosh, it doesn't want me to end it. Boom.